Hey guys, what's going on today? BOJoeKO here, and we are back to do another Team of the Week review for the week of May 6th. So once again, it is going to be more Stanley Cup Edition cards this week, the third week in a row of Stanley Cup Edition cards, and it is also probably the second or third week in a row that some cards have remained on this Team of the Week for at least 2 or 3 straight weeks. So it's kind of interesting to see why they're keeping so many of these cards for consecutive weeks, but without further ado, let's get rolling here. On the first line this week, we got Marian Gaborik, Patrice Bergeron, and Patrick Kane with Chris Letang and PK Subban on defense, with Marc-Andre Fleury in the net, and the backup is Jonathan Quick. So pretty good cards right there. Subban's on there for the second week in a row. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he's been on the Team of the Week all 3 weeks so far. So that's kind of interesting. Gaborik is the same as his Hut Live. Bergeron, I think, is the same as his Hut Live, maybe like -1. I think it's a -1 off of his Hut Live. Patrick Kane, I think it's the second week in a row for him. Letang, I'm not sure if it's the second week in a row or not for him, but he's on there as well. And Fleury gets his first appearance as well as Quick. So pretty good first line, especially with Gaborik. Two nice speedy players here. Nice speedy first line. Second line, we got Martin St. Louis, Jonathan Toews, and Brian Bickle with Drew Doughty and Duncan Keith. So St. Louis, I think, is his second week, as well as Toews and Keith get their second weeks in a row. Drew Doughty makes an appearance, so it looks like a pretty decent card for Drew Doughty. And then Brian Bickle gets his Stanley Cup Edition card, because this guy seems to perform pretty well for the Blackhawks in the playoffs. It's a pretty decent overall card there with 90 checking for him. So that's the second line. Third line, we have Thomas Vanek, Evgeny Malkin, and Brendan Gallagher with Zdeno Chara and Paul Martin. So Malkin, Gallagher, Chara, and Paul Martin get their second weeks in a row, but Thomas Vanek now gets a card as well. I'm fairly sure this one's the exact same as his I think it's his Montreal Canadiens Hut Live one, or it could be his Sochi one too. I'm not entirely sure, but one of his Hut Lives has the exact same stats as that, so he's the only newcomer on that week for the third line. And the fourth line, you got Zach Parise, Anze Kopitar, and Riley Smith. So Parise, I think he's been on here for 3 straight weeks. Kopitar makes it on here for the second week in a row. And Riley Smith becomes like the new Andre Palat / Tyler Johnson card at the Stanley Edition cards with 90, pretty much nothing less than a 90 for his offensive stats at 91, 91, and 90, 85, 89 for defense. So once again, I don't know. I would like to see some more variety in these cards, but then again, I guess you just have to limit to the teams that are still in here. I mean, if we look at all these cards, there's only one New York Ranger. There's a lot of Montreal Canadiens, a lot of Pittsburgh Penguins, a ton of Chicago Blackhawks, a few LA Kings. I think I'm really missing somebody here. Which team has not been mentioned? Boston, Montreal, Pittsburgh, New York Rangers. I mean, the Rangers have only been mentioned once with St. Louis, and then the West it's Chicago. I mean, Parise is the only Minnesota Wild, and then it's Chicago, Minnesota, and then who's the other Western Conference? LA, and no Anaheim Ducks. It's surprising me. There's no Anaheim Ducks on the Team of the Week this week. So no Anaheim Ducks, and they're the only team that has not been a playoff Stanley Cup Edition card, I think, for the past couple of weeks. So that's what the Team of the Week looks like, guys. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you pull anything as well. And we'll be back next week to review next week's Team of the Week.